When Commissioner Gordon was selected to be the new Batman, his first mission out in the field was stopping a giant energy monster from breaking into a local bank. But it soon became clear that it wasn't gonna be an easy task, because after being thrown around the city like a rag doll, he realized that the beast was completely unfazed by his suit's EMP blasts. However, that's when he was hit by another realization that what he was fighting was just a projection, and that it had to have been being controlled by someone nearby. Someone who was probably just creating a distraction, because most of the cash in the bank they were attacking was easily traceable. So Gordon started running throughout the neighborhood, frantically scanning everything he could, where he eventually discovered an infamous criminal known as Precious Precious, holding Dodger Valera, the most famous baseball player in Gotham history, hostage, while also wearing goggles that allowed him to control the monster. And the reason he was holding Dodger hostage was because on top of being a millionaire, he also had a huge stash full of trophies and rings from his illustrious career. However, upon trying to save his life, Gordon was stopped in his tracks almost immediately when the hulking beast smashed him into the ground by launching a massive box truck into the air. But thankfully, Gordon was only out for the count temporarily, and sooner than later he was able to slip out of his mech suit, find his way into Dodger's complex, and then neutralize the target with an electric batarang gun. Here's where things get weird though, because shortly after being taken into custody, Precious mysteriously passed away, and according to the city's new commissioner, it was because of a seed implanted in his leg that was capable of giving people powers, but also it looked as if whoever gave him the seed was able to trigger it to disperse massive amounts of radiation to kill the user and avoid being caught. Anyways, a few days later, the department deployed Commissioner Gordon into another battle with a man named Gigi Hume, the leader of the Chinese mafia, who was now somehow capable of earthbending. And Gordon was able to prevail despite facing someone with such powerful capabilities, because after they turned themselves into a giant bat rock monster, he used his bat truck to smash them into pieces. But upon his victory, Gordon realized that Gigi was in danger because he had the same exact kind of seed in his leg that Precious did. So he tried stressing that they needed to get him to the hospital, but before being able to do so, he was killed by radiation poisoning right after mentioning that someone named Mr. Bloom was dealing these seeds. So Gordon went back to the drawing board, trying to piece this whole seed puzzle together, but eventually he knew he'd only get to the bottom of this by finding someone who could reprogram his mech suit, which would allow him to do some investigating as Batman unmonitored by the GCPD. So he found this guy that was volunteering at a local school who was very experienced with Wayne tech, which then reveals to all of us that none other than Bruce Wayne himself was still alive. But sadly, that's where this issue comes to an end, but if you want to see what happens next, let me know in the comments down below.